You ever had one of those days where you feel like your life is being narrated by a nature documentary?
Oh, I know that feeling.
You're walking into a high-stakes meeting, holding your lukewarm coffee, but in your head, there's this hushed British voice whispering, "Here you see the anxious middle manager in their natural habitat."
Attempting to avoid eye contact with the alpha predator, also known as the VP of sales.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe you've looked at your pet, your dog, your cat, maybe a hamster, and just projected all of your own human anxieties onto them.
Oh, look at Mr. Whiskers. He's definitely worried about the housing market today.
Yes.
It's a funny image, but it actually cuts right to the heart of how we process the world. We are, constantly narrating, constantly projecting meaning onto things that might just be things.
And that is exactly where we are going today.
It is. We are taking a deep dive into the satirical writings of an author named Farah.
And let me tell you, this material is a goldmine. We're looking at two specific pieces of her work that, on the surface, just couldn't be more different. One is titled My Pet Hamster's Existential Crisis, and the other is called The Age of the Marketeer, an unofficial guide.
And on top of that, we have access to some fascinating notes from the Observer's catalog of industry satire, which really help us decode what Farah is actually doing here.
Exactly. So on one hand, we have a hamster freaking out about existence. On the other, a breakdown of corporate life that feels like a field guide to a very dangerous jungle.
A very dangerous jungle, yes.
But here's the thing, and this is why I'm so excited. This isn't just about reading some funny blog posts. This is about dissecting social behavior.
Right. If you look closely, these aren't just jokes. Farah is exploring how satire can be used to catalog the absolute absurdity of modern life.
She's looking at everything from what she calls opinion storms in social interactions to the wildlings of the corporate world.
Which is a fantastic term.
Yeah, it is. And the mission for us today, it's to help you, the listener, make a shift. We want to understand how to move from being a frustrated participant in the system, someone just getting, buffeted by the waves, to becoming what Farah calls a keen observer.
Someone capable of laughing at the chaos rather than being consumed by it.
So let's unpack this. Where do we even start? The hamster.
We have to start with the hamster, the piece, My Pet Hamster's Existential Crisis.
Okay, so the premise is hilarious. It's basically about a pet having an existential meltdown, but then it becomes this whole subject of public debate.
It's a brilliant setup. Farah uses this completely absurd scenario, a hamster questioning its existence, to highlight a very real social phenomenon. She calls it the opinion storm.
I love that term, the opinion storm. It sounds like something you'd see on a weather map, but much, much more annoying.
In a way, it is. The core concept here is that the moment someone expresses themselves, and she specifically notes, this could be a poet, an author.
Or just a woman with a blog.
Exactly. The public suddenly claims to have a PhD in their life.
Yes. That line stood out to me so much. A PhD in their life. It's that instant where you put something out there, maybe it's just a photo of your breakfast, and suddenly everyone is an expert on your experience.
And this is where the satire really bites. Farah argues that these people, the ones creating the storm, they don't actually want the truth.
No.
They aren't interested in whether the hamster is actually sad or just hungry. They want to project.
It's the culture of echoes, right? Can we unpack that a bit? Because it sounds poetic, but it feels very, very specific to how we use social media.
Precisely. The source material describes the culture of echoes as a state where everyone wants to see themselves in the narrative. They want the story to be about them or their values or their worldview.
So they ignore the facts of the situation.
Completely. Because the facts are inconvenient to the projection. It's narcissism disguised as empathy.
That's a great way to put it. It's like looking in a mirror, but pretending you're looking through a window.
Perfect analogy.
You think you're seeing the other person, but you're just looking for your own reflection.
Yes. And this brings in a really heavy hitter that the notes mention, Santayana.
George Santayana, the philosopher.
The very same. The notes highlight his influence here, specifically regarding the contrast between opinions and facts.
Okay.
In this opinion storm, opinions completely override facts. Farah is highlighting the struggle of the creator in an era of, alternative facts. You're trying to say this is a hamster, the crowd is screaming.
No, it's a commentary on late-stage capitalism.
Well, no, it represents my personal childhood trauma regarding small rodents.
Yeah.
And the author is just standing there holding a hamster with him.
Yeah, exactly. And that disconnect is where the existential crisis actually lies. It's not the hamster's crisis, it's the crisis of communication in a world where everyone is just shouting, waiting to hear their own echo.
It's the death of nuance.
It is.
So, if the world is just a storm of opinions and projections, how does the author survive? Because the notes mention a chess analogy that I found really compelling. It sounds like she's not just taking a beating, she's playing a game. This is the pivot point. If you read the notes on the social satirist, you get a glimpse of Farah's internal mindset. She isn't just taking these hits, she's anticipating them.
How so?
The notes say she writing 10 steps ahead.
Like a grandmaster.
Exactly, like a grandmaster. She knows the reaction is coming, she knows the projection is coming, so she writes in a way that accounts for it. It's a defense mechanism, but it's also a strategy.
She's baiting the trap.
In a way, yes.
There's this great detail in the notes about the battle for legacy. You usually think of legacy as this big historical thing. Statues, libraries.
Wikipedia pages.
Right? But Farah observes that the battle for legacy happens at the dinner table.
That is such a profound observation tucked inside a satire. We think of legacy as global, but it's actually incredibly local. It's how your family sees you, how your friends talk about you.
And when you're a creative person or just someone stepping out of the norm, that dinner table can be a battlefield of those alternative facts.
It's terrifying because those are the people who are supposed to know you, but even they are projecting.
Right. And the image the source gives us to handle this is so vivid. It describes the author smiling on the outside while internally rolling her eyes.
That's the key moment, isn't it? That split, the external smile and the internal eye roll.
It's the birth of the social satirist.
That is the moment she stops being a victim of the opinion storm and starts observing it. She sees the game being played. She sees the absurdity.
And instead of getting angry, she takes notes.
She starts cataloging. She turns the people driving her crazy into research subjects.
She moves from the participant, who is hurt by the projection, to the observer, who finds it fascinatingly ridiculous.
Which is the perfect transition to the second piece of work we're looking at.
It really is, because if my pet hamster's existential crisis is about the social world, the age of the marketeer, an unofficial guide is about the professional one.
And boy, does it hit close to home.
Oh, yeah. If you work in an office, this is going to feel very, very familiar.
It really does. The source material shifts tone here. If the first piece was social psychology, this one is framed explicitly as a nature documentary.
A nature documentary for LinkedIn. I love that. Just imagine the voiceover narration for a networking event.
It's a breakdown of the corporate ecosystem. And Farah pulls no punches. She outlines what she calls the marketeer life cycle.
A brutal, honest look at the stages of a professional life.
Very brutal.
Let's walk through these stages because the names alone are fantastic. It starts with the wildlings.
The wildlings. These are the fresh graduates entering the workforce. You can picture them, right?
Oh, totally. Full of energy, completely unjaded, running into the office, ready to change the world.
They think the free coffee is a perk, not a fuel for survival.
And they have no idea what's coming.
None. They are the prey in this ecosystem. They haven't encountered the absurdity yet. They still think logic applies to the corporate structure.
But then you graduate, you survive the wildling phase, and you enter the early 30s. Enlightened. Now, enlightened here doesn't mean you've reached nirvana, does it?
Not at all. No. The source describes them as just trying to survive specific absurdities. It's the enlightenment of realization.
Okay.
The moment you realize the emperor has no clothes, but you still have to compliment his outfit.
Right. The example given is surviving a CEO's obsession with a specific shade of blue.
Oh, the blue paint meeting.
That is so real. We've all been there. You're in a meeting for 3 hours, highly paid adults, discussing whether the branding blue should be ocean mist or sky whisper.
And you just realize, this is my life? This is what I do with my limited time on Earth?
That is the moment of enlightenment in Farah's guide.
It's not spiritual enlightenment. It's the realization of the absurdity. You realize the machine is ridiculous, but you're still in it. You're just trying to get through the meeting without screaming.
And the dangers just keep coming.
Yeah.
The guide talks about the scarred navigators and the traps that lie in wait. There's one called the octopus model.
This is a really serious point wrapped in a funny name. The octopus trap refers to the descent into specialization.
Why an octopus?
Well, think about it. You start out broad, capable of anything. And then the corporate world forces you to become an octopus grabby, specialized, pulling levers in 8 different directions, but stuck in one spot.
You become the spreadsheet person or the logistics guy.
You become a function, not a person. You lose your mobility because you're so busy juggling these specific tasks.
And the soul-crushing part is that you're good at it, so they give you more arms, but they never let you move to a new rock.
Never. And if you try to escape the octopus trap, the source warns about entrepreneurial whispers.
This is one of the funniest and most biting parts of the text.
It really is. These whispers distract professionals. You're at your desk, hating that specific shade of blue, feeling your octopus arms flailing, and you hear a whisper. Start a business. Be your own boss.
The escape hatch.
But because you're so burned out and your creativity has been drained by the machine, the outcomes are, well, they're cliche.
She specifically mentions the result is often starting artisanal dog biscuit blogs.
Artisanal dog biscuit blogs. It's so specific and yet so universal. It's that desperate grasp for authenticity that just ends up being another trend.
It highlights the lack of genuine creativity that the corporate grind induces.
You're so desperate to get out, you just jump into another prepackaged identity. You trade one absurdity for another.
So instead of arguing about blee paint, you're arguing about gluten-free flour for labradoodles.
Exactly.
So is there any hope? Or are we all doomed to be octopuses or dog biscuit bloggers? Because the guide does talk about a crossroads later in the life cycle.
There is a crossroads.
Yeah.
And this is where Farooh's field guide becomes a moral compass. She identifies two distinct groups in the older generation, the legends and the bitter brigade.
Let's talk about the bitter brigade first. I feel like I know these people.
We all do. The source describes them with a lot of disdain. These are the people who have let the industry sour them. They survived the wildling stage, they survived the blue paint meetings, but they lost their sense of humor along the way.
They became cynical.
Deeply cynical. They are the ones who shoot down every new idea because we tried that in 2005 and it didn't work then, so it won't work now.
The joy suckers. The ones who treat every meeting like a funeral.
Exactly. They allowed the absurdity to rot them from the inside. They are still participants, but they are angry participants.
Okay, so contrast that with the legends.
The legends are the over 50s, whom Farooh really respects. The key difference isn't their job title or their salary. It's their attitude.
Okay.
They stayed grounded, they see the octopus traps, they see the wildlings running around, and they navigate it with grace. They haven't lost their soul to the corporate machine.
They seem above it somehow.
They are. They are strategic observers. They know the game is silly, so they play it with a wink. They mentor the wildlings instead of hazing them.
And this is where it gets interesting regarding Farooh herself. The notes mention where she places herself in this ecosystem.
Right. She's not a legend yet, but she's not a wildling. She identifies as an early 30-something, but, and this is a crucial phrase, with the drive of a 40-year-old veteran.
She's claiming the wisdom of the next stage before she actually gets there. She's trying to speed run the wisdom.
That's the chess player mindset coming back. She's looking at the board. She sees the bitter brigade on one side and the legends on the other.
And she is making a conscious choice right now in her 30s.
To steer toward becoming a legend, she realizes that bitterness is a choice, and she's choosing the other path. Her goal is to stay grounded, to see the traps from the inside, but not get caught in them.
It's about survival. The Age of the Marketeer isn't just a funny list of job types. It's a manifesto on how to keep your humanity in a dehumanizing environment.
It is.
So when we pull these two sources together, the hamster and the marketeer, what are we actually looking at? Because there seems to be a unifying theme here.
There is. The notes call this the meta point. Whether she is discussing a hamster's fake crisis or a marketing director's real crisis, the theme is the shift from participant to observer.
Break that down for us. What does that transformation actually look like? Because we are all participants in our lives, aren't we?
We are. But it's about emotional attachment. When you are a participant, you are fighting the system. You're arguing with the people projecting onto your hamster.
You're getting angry about the CEO's blue paint.
Exactly. You are engaging with the absurdity as if it were rational. You're trying to use logic to fight chaos.
And that leads to burnout. That leads to the bitter brigade.
You exhaust yourself trying to fix things that are inherently broken or silly. But the observer...
The observer steps back.
Right. Farooh's writings represent a shift in identity. She's no longer fighting the system. She's cataloging it. She's taking notes. She's writing the field guide.
When you catalog the chaos, you gain power over it.
You do. It's a survival mechanism. It sounds almost therapeutic.
It is, isn't it?
It is 100% therapeutic. It allows you to navigate the opinion storm without getting wet. It allows you to work in the corporate machine without becoming a cog.
You can laugh at the opinion storm because you see it for what it is, weather.
And You can handle the octopus trap because you see it as a biological curiosity, not a personal failing.
So, the humor, the satire, it's not just for entertainment, it's armor.
It's the ultimate armor. It creates distance. And in that distance between you and the absurdity, you can find your sanity. You reclaim your narrative.
That is so powerful. It changes the way I look at these blog posts. They aren't just rants, they're strategic maneuvers.
They are the moves of someone playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers.
Or arguing over dog biscuits.
They're arguing over dog biscuits, yes.
Okay, let's recap the journey we've been on today. We started with a hamster.
A hamster that became a canvas for the world's anxieties. We saw how the opinion storm and the culture of echoes drown out facts with projected feelings.
We learned that most people aren't listening. They're just waiting for their turn to project.
And then we moved into the jungle of the office.
We tracked the life cycle from the naive wildlings who are just happy to be there to the enlightened 30-somethings dealing with absurd management.
And the threat of the octopus trap, all the way to the final choice between becoming a legend or joining the bitter brigade.
And through it all, the red thread has been this idea of the strategic observer.
The person who smiles on the outside, rolls their eyes on the inside, and writes it all down. That is the superpower, the ability to see the game.
So here's the takeaway for you, our listener, the learner. The next time you feel overwhelmed, whether it's by a social media pile-on or a meeting that could have been an email, try to flip that switch.
Don't just suffer through it.
Yeah.
Narrate it. Catalog it. Ask yourself, what species of corporate behavior is this? What stage of the life cycle am I looking at?
Is this an opinion storm or is it a fact?
Right.
Turn the absurdity into data. It makes it a lot harder for the world to drive you crazy when you're busy studying it like a scientist.
Precisely. Be the documentarian of your own life, not the victim.
Now, before we go, we want to leave you with a thought to mull over. We talked about the chess analogy, writing 10 steps ahead. We talked about the dinner table being the real battlefield for your legacy. So here is the question. If everyone around you is projecting their own alternative facts onto your life, if they are all seeing what they want to see, are you playing chess 10 steps ahead? Or are you just sitting there arguing at the dinner table?
That's the question. Are you moving pieces? Or are you just making noise?
Something to think about the next time someone offers you an opinion you didn't ask for. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
See you next time.